The third part now deals with dynamics. We're going to go into what predisposes people, even nice people, kind people, law-abiding people, people who aren't even angry in general, to go into this. Now, we found, you might think it was mostly young people, and it's not. You might think it's mostly people who have beat up old cars. It's not. Socioeconomics is not the main determinant of who shows this angry driving, who will flip somebody off or scream, put the headlights up and down, or cut somebody off for retaliation, or slam their brakes on to teach the person a lesson. It's not related to socioeconomics or age. And when I tell you the answer to that based on our research, it won't surprise you, although it may not come into your mind right now. Parenting. You're much more likely to be an angry driver if your parents were angry. If you grew up watching your father or your mother scream at other drivers or flip them off or any of these angry patterns, you're more likely to emulate that. And we found that was the key determinant, was parenting. So if you're an angry driver, when I get into the cures, and that's a very big thing, but I want to tell you one of the ones that it's not a total cure, but it's a partial cure, is when people understand that they're putting their children at risk later on. In fact, the person from the Washington Post who had some doubts about whether angry driving or road rage was really a reality, back then we used them interchangeably. By the end of the interview, she acknowledged she was an angry driver and that she's going to try to do something about it because she doesn't want her daughter to learn it. But she acknowledged she was going to do it. Now, when I say it's no respecter of age or socioeconomics, it's no respecter of profession. You could be psychologist. 53% of psychologists have the issue. 53% of police officers have the problem when they're in their civilian clothes. They have the problem. 53% of teachers. 53% of ministers. In fact, there was one deacon of a church who got into literally a road rage incident. The car pulled off, he pulled off. He took out his bow and arrow. They came out, and he shot it and went to the guy's heart. Went spinning right into the man's heart and killed him. He's in prison now. He's deacon of a church. I know of incidents where clergymen have screamed at people as they were pulling to the parking lot to their churches. So it doesn't matter what how spiritual people are or supposed to be, how educated, whether you're a doctor or psychologist. Psychologists, same thing. It's going to be about 53%. And when I've given lectures to large groups, I say at least 53% of you are going to have this problem. And they raise their hands. Sometimes it's 45, sometimes 60, but on the average it leveled out to about 53%. Whoever the audience was, drivers, professional drivers, same thing. It's no respect of profession. It's mostly through the parenting. Now, what is the underlying psychology of this? Within the human psyche, there's an urge to release our aggression on anonymous others when we feel justified. An urge to release our aggression on anonymous others when we feel justified. So a person says, well, this person cut me off. They endangered me. I'm justified. Now, whatever I want to do. I don't know this person. Same dynamics in war. It's easier to shoot these people. You don't know them. Some anonymous other. I'm justified. They're the bad guys. We're the good guys. I'm going to shoot these people. So here you're dealing with a situation of anonymity. Now, certainly, if somebody, your next door neighbor, cut you off, you're not going to be likely to go and scream at him, beep your horn at him, even though you might do it to anybody else. You don't have a problem with your neighbor. He's not anonymous. Most people feel they're never going to see the person again. And sometimes they're wrong. There have been cases where the people have done it. I know of one case I can think of, and they ended up at the same gas station fueling up, and the guy got out of his car and punched him out. The anonymity didn't hold. They ended up at the same gas station. So that's road rage because it was felonious, angry driving. It wasn't just flipping off or screaming, this type of thing. It was actually an assault. Now, people would say, gee, don't you realize that this could get you killed? And when I asked people, we were in a survey in L.A., we said to people, what percentage of people who are driving do you think have guns, loaded guns in their cars? Nobody knows. But we found that most people think that at least 35% of the other drivers are armed. 35%. It might be higher, it might be lower, nobody knows. But people imagine there's at least that much that have a gun in their car. And yet they still show angry driving towards somebody. They still show it, knowing that a good life, it's a fairly decent likelihood this person may have a gun. As a matter of fact, I was with my wife. We were coming onto the 10 in Santa Monica, and this lady kept beeping a horn once, twice. My wife finally said, "Hey, what's going on?" Hey, which my advice is, whenever there's anything going on, somebody does something on the road, you go on like it didn't happen, because it'll just exacerbate it. You don't know who you're dealing with. Well, the lady, young woman, in a new Honda, pulled up side, was an older lady sitting next to her, and we had our daughter in the back seat, in a baby seat, and she pointed a gun at us. She took a pistol, pointed a gun at us. So again, young person, nice car, looked like a professional lady, pointed a gun at us. And the older lady pushed the gun down of the younger person, and they went in front and took off. Well, we could have been shot. Our baby could have been shot. Just went, "Hey, what's up? What's the problem?" You don't do that. You just don't express it. If you have to, you mumble to yourself, that's one thing, but there's a case where a person was armed and dangerous. Now, we found that 60% of angry drivers said if the person apologized, the anger would go away. 60%. But we don't have a way to show that 60% yet. We're showing the apology. We don't have that yet. Of course, what does the other 40% want? That's the other side. But now we're going to go into the cure. What is the cure for this horrendous problem? A problem that causes more deaths than all the wars put together since the Second World War. If you put all the wars together, we've lost much more through aggressive driving. What is the cure?